Last week, the island nation of Sri Lanka was ravaged by its worst natural disaster since a devastating 2004 tsunami. Cyclone Ditwah lashed the country's eastern coast last Friday, bringing catastrophic floods and landslides which left hundreds of people dead. Many are still missing. More than 30,000 houses have been damaged. Over 1.4 million Sri Lankans have been affected by the fallout of the deadly cyclone, prompting President Anura Kumara Dissanayake to declare a state of emergency. Our next report brings you the details of the tragedy befallen upon the Sri Lankans.
Sri Lanka, which endured its worst financial meltdown in more than 7 decades in 2022, is a nation on the road to recovery. Just when the first signs of financial recovery were on the horizon, the island nation was hit with Cyclone Ditwah last week, in one of its worst weather disasters in years.
It rained non-stop for 3 days. We heard about the warnings of flooding, but we didn't expect water levels would get this high. As usual, we moved our belongings that could be moved to a higher level, but that didn't help. Everything is underwater.
According to the country's Disaster Management Center, at 4th of December, at least 474 people have been left dead. And around 400 people are still missing in the wake of the deadly cyclone. But the officials fear that the number of both dead and missing could rise significantly as many areas remain inaccessible due to continuous rain, collapsed roads and unstable terrain. On Wednesday, as floodwaters receded in capital Colombo and the surrounding districts, many neighborhoods continue to remain submerged, forcing mass evacuations. The situation in the Central Highlands is worse, where the relentless rains triggered landslides, buried homes and cut off entire villages. The rescue crews have deemed the conditions in certain zones too perilous, compelling halt in search and rescue efforts. Electricity and running water got cut off for a third of the country. A state of emergency has been declared by President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, who labelled the deadly cyclone as the most challenging natural disaster in the country's history. Military helicopters have been deployed to reach people stranded by flooding and landslides triggered by Cyclone Ditwah. Reportedly, the scale of destruction is so massive that it will probably take weeks to assess the full extent of the damage done and to arrive at the daunting cost of reconstruction. At a challenging time like this, the much-needed initiative taken by volunteers like Mohammad Nawaz is heartening.
We're fishermen, but when floods hit our communities, we don't wait to be asked. We step in on our own, using our boats and whatever we have to rescue people who've been displaced, and we make sure they get food, drinking water, and the basics they need to stay safe.
When heavy rain started, the 71-year-old Sri Lanka repairman B.S. Vikram Singh and his son Pradeep rushed to move all their equipment to his shop's second floor. Confident that the rising waters would never reach that height, but he was wrong.
The
next morning, I decided to check out the situation. There is a post office nearby, and it had gone underwater. That's when we knew our shop was destroyed. We knew we had lost everything. Everything was washed away by the floods. Now we are destitute. We will have to start from zero again. There were electric goods which we had repaired, spending 100,000 rupees of our money. We had a lot of electric and electronic goods. We have lost about 7 million rupees in total.
Reportedly, children heavily reliant on essential services like water, healthcare and schooling are among the worst affected.
With initial reports showing that the destruction caused by Cyclone Ditwah now exceeding over $3 billion here in Sri Lanka, the island nation will need any and all financial assistance that could be given not only by international lending institutions but also by the international community at large. This is Sri Lanka's worst natural disaster in 2 decades that has already caused the loss of lives of over 400 individuals and with 50,000 houses being damaged as a result of this cyclone.
On Tuesday, UNICEF said that over 275,000 children have been adversely affected by Cyclone Ditwah, with the number likely to rise further.
Cyclone Ditwah made landfall on the east coast in Sri Lanka, impacting over 275,000 children who are amongst the over 1.4 million people affected across Sri Lanka. And with communications down and roads blocked, the true number of children impacted is likely even higher. Homes have been swept away, entire communities isolated, and the essential services children rely on, such as water, healthcare, and schooling, have been severely disrupted.
The government, facing opposition in the parliament and accused of limiting debate on the disaster, has issued an appeal for international aid and urged Sri Lankans abroad to donate money to support affected communities. India too has ramped up rescue efforts for its neighbouring country. On Monday, the Sri Lankan president received a phone call from India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who assured him of New Delhi's continued support for relief and recovery efforts. The Indian Air Force was quick to move relief supplies to cyclone-hit areas of the island nation. India has also taken a hit due to Cyclone Ditwah. In Tamil Nadu, at least 4 people lost their lives in rain-related incidents.
Let's also tell you that because of the impact of this weather system and the cyclone, there's been up to 4 deaths in Tamil Nadu as per the government, and this is because of wall collapse incidents and electrocution deaths. Let's also tell you that up to 85,000 acres of agricultural land where cultivation is underway, that's been affected due to the rain. While the intensity of the system has come down, what went wrong is that this system actually stayed parallel to the Chennai coast for well over 48 hours, and it kept yielding rainfall pretty much non-stop. This is what led to this kind of rainfall pouring in Chennai in a short duration. Let's also tell you that right now the weather system has lost its intensity. It has become a well-marked low pressure area and it is traveling over inland Tamil Nadu. And as this system travels, it's expected to bring heavy to very heavy rainfall in different parts of the state, be it the coastal parts or the interior parts of the state.
As the Sri Lankans pick up the pieces of their lives, helped by the humanitarian aid flowing in from foreign governments and non-governmental organizations, it appears that the journey to recovery will be a long and arduous one.